It is episode 69, Golden Mike Live. My girl Kisma is here today. Let me ask you something. You know why I said it real slow in the beginning? Because I want to talk to you about this. And come in real close because we need to talk to each other, y'all. We need to talk to each other because Mercury's in retrograde. You never know when this is going to cut off. So I'm going to go real slow. Clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go. Who doesn't want more of that in their life? I'm going to say it again. Clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go. I'm extra patient today because I'm picking up on your energy, Kisma. I'm picking up on your energy. If y'all haven't met me, that's fine. My name is Marc Cordons. I'm the founder. I'm going to turn it back up of the Make Money Coaching Program. And more importantly, I'm a positive psychologist, which means two things. Number one, are you feeling good on a daily basis? I just had it written down. I was just doing a live course on it. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling happy on a daily basis? The second thing I wanted to ask you is this. Are you feeling like you're living in purpose on a daily basis? Now, the thing is, y'all, when you're living with both of those, you can't be stopped. You're flourishing. And all these peak performance things come out of you when you're flourishing. Kisma can talk about that. So Kisma, founder of the Illumination Academy, Kisma, working with industry leaders on spirit, energy, and peak performance, aka positive psychology. And Kisma, who's going to talk to us about clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go. I have a question for you today. First of all, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh my God, thank you.
But
this is the best.
But number two is, Kisma, are you feeling good and functioning in your full purpose today?
Yes.
Booyah!
Totally.
That's all you gotta say. Yes. It was a simple yes/no question, and it was a simple yes/no answer. So for those of you who are watching live right now or on the replay, Kisma, put your hand up with me. You know there's a button there. If you're living in full happiness and full purpose, show Kisma and I some hearts. How do you make your heart beat, Kisma? Oh, look at that. A side heart to a full heart to a rotation and
tap your heart. Tap your heart.
Show us some hearts. Do not be afraid to live life out loud, y'all. Do not afraid to be using these buttons either. Let's use them for something. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of people think positive psychology is about all the shits and giggles and Taco Tuesdays and all this wildness and all this happiness 24/7. It's not. It's not. It's about the ups, the downs, and the all arounds of life, y'all. And some days you're going to wake up and you're going to say, you know what, Cordon, last week I was super happy. Last week I was a 10 on a scale of 10. But like this week, I don't know what's going wrong. But like, I'm not feeling so hot. I'm kind of sad. That is cool. Here's the other thing that's cool. You could have been living in your full purpose for 30, 40, 50 years. Whatever industry you're in, everybody, it happens to everybody. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, my purpose is changing. And I'm not quite sure what to do with it. That is cool too. That is a part of your hero's journey. Your heart is beating just like everybody else's. Give us a thumbs up to let us know you are living your life. That's all we want to know. Now, here's the thing too. Kisma's going to be talking about energy, peak performance. Also, there's this thing called hope theory. If you are if you're focusing on tomorrow and you're thinking that tomorrow, no matter whether you're a 1 or you're a 10, is going to be better than today, Kisma, I don't know if you said you've seen the show, so you know you've been warned. Y'all, there is another button down there that I want you to hit. There's another button. Kisma, do it with me. If you're feeling optimistic about your future, give us a big old wow face. Kisma, let's see that wow face. Oh, Kisma, love ya. Now you're going to calm me down the rest of this time.
Do I have to talk at all? Because this is the best. I'm just kidding.
You're my beginning is done after this. The rest is all you. Lily,
No, it's
giving
too
us the
fun.
thumbs up, living life. It's good to see you in here, Lily. Jorge tuning in from Puerto Rico. Jorge, the greatest of all time, Puerto Rico, showing some red hot love. Andy Castile, I just saw you in the Beyond Resilient Underground talking about flourishing, and it's good to see you again out here, Andy. Hope everything's going well with you and your family. Speaking of things going well, things are going well whenever we've got Kisma Orbovich on the show. Kisma, I just long-windedly introduced the show, and
that was awesome.
we're gonna talk about those 5 aspects in a couple minutes. Those 5 aspects: clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go. So everybody stay tuned for that piece. But more importantly, Kisma, what's your story?
My story. Oh my gosh, dude, I'm so much older than you that I feel like I have about 5 stories.
You think that you're older than me?
I am so much older, and that's so cool. Here's the big story that I can share right now is like age is just a number. Let's just kick it off with that, like, because I love that you talk about positive psychology, which means everything that's happening up here is truly determining how we're feeling, whether it's mentally, emotionally, or physically. And so, my story is I'm a big one on intuition. For most of my life, I was a classical musician. I played in orchestras. I lived in Hong Kong and played in the Hong Kong Philharmonic. I had a really great career. I loved it. And literally one night on stage, like during a Beethoven symphony, I hear this voice. It's like time to quit and head back to the States. Like time to leave this career that I started at age 13 and do something else. And I have this habit when I hear those voices, I kind of go, really? Like I should know better, but I'm like, I look up and my clients laugh all the time. So I'm like, hang on a minute. And I'll look up because I'm like getting this download. I'm like, are you kidding? And it's just like, I have learned over the years, listen. And that was the beginning of a huge transition for me, just moving back to the States. My daughter was 11 at the time. We moved to Michigan, the Detroit area. I opened a yoga studio, which was kind of this transition of music into the spiritual aspects of life. And, the rest is like, I just keep listening. I mean, I just keep listening.
Okay, so I've got to ask you this. You're already deterring my questioning route. So like, that's good. This is good. You're talking about, you heard a voice, like literally, are you hearing a voice?
It's tricky to describe. And for those of you that are open and listen to or hear or feel your intuition, because intuition can be a feeling. We hear that like it's in my gut. It can be a body, a physical reaction, especially when we don't listen to it. Some people just feel it's like someone's taking this syringe and just inserting it into my brain with words or a voice that isn't a voice. It's tricky to describe. It's often referred to as direct knowing, just direct knowing. You just get this know. And so it's so tangible that it can be equated with a voice. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. So much sense that I'm putting it up on the board. I'm putting it up on the window in front of us right now. I wanted to ask you, what is your definition of intuition? Because I just realized with my questioning route, I was asking about an actual voice, but you're really telling us about intuition and the way that we pick up intuition, our spidey senses, right?
Yes.
So I think I might have been asking you about clairaudience or something, right? Like, well, that's the way people hear things, right?
Clairaudience is, yes.
Okay, so what is intuition?
One of the most beautiful definitions comes from this writer she was writing in the 1930s, I believe, Florence Scovel-Shinn, my favorite, all-time just spiritual teacher and writer. And she said, prayer is us telephoning God. Intuition is God telephoning us. And it's even hard for me to say that without getting a little teary, because when we really understand that we have a hookup, whether it's God, universe, spirit, source, Brahman, whatever one's word is. I'm not here to tell people like what words to use. It's pretty difficult to deny there is this universal intelligence space, this one essence. And that is calling us. And the thing we've got to do is listen. Especially with the state of the world the way it is now, it's like we're getting information all the time that can not just help us, but help other people. And we have to step in. We have to be willing. It can be scary. You hear time and time again, like, oh, I knew that and I didn't listen and I regretted it. Because our intuition will be those words, those voices, those knowings are so much bigger than anything that our conscious mind would ever conceive of. Because this is like saying full potential, go. Where our conditioned human personality mind is like, oh no, stay small. It's way too uncomfortable to go big. You see the difference? So it's huge.
So what you're saying here is that there is an internal and an external when it comes to like to me living my life. There's something external to me, and I mean, just to make this very short, I can have communication with God, because if you're saying that I can send messages out and I can receive messages,
right? Absolutely.
I receive it in intuition. I send it out in prayer.
Right. We can call God. God can call us. We can be one with God. I mean, the real truth is to get to the oneness, obviously. It's like nothing originates here in the 3D, this realm. It's all up here. And this is why sometimes, we hear it all the time where somebody be like, oh yeah, I just was thinking about this person. They called me. That is not a coincidence. There is no coincidence. When I had my yoga studio, I would think about students that I hadn't seen for a while. I'd be sitting like the night before classes, like I haven't seen this person, that person. The next day they'd walk in. We have this ability to not just communicate with God, but to send that sort of loving, harmonious essence out to one another and make a difference.
So we can also contact each other in different ways.
Dude, right? We could just close our eyes and have this conversation. I think that might wig everybody up. So let's just keep talking.
Here's the thing. Because we were using some sort of Claire something because this dang BeLive program wasn't working again before the show. But Kisma, like, I mean, I'm almost just, I don't even know where to go with this at this point. I mean, just, doesn't usually happen on the show. I usually talk a shit ton, but I think this, like, this is what I want. This is what my intuition is telling me to ask you when I just
let's go with that.
Through. Mm-hmm. If it's that basic, why are we spending lifetimes trying to learn it? Like generation after generation. I mean, the writing is literally on the walls around us. Mm-hmm. This is the secret. Or
right.
Why is it not? And it's almost obvious when maybe we're children. But why is it something that it takes us so long to almost relearn?
Well, that's such a great question. And what came to me as you were asking is I actually think for some very basic, like I said, human conditioned personality reasons, we're trying to ignore it. And one must be, because it's so huge, this ability that we might actually have a connection with God, or we might get language or knowing that tells us we can be so much bigger and greater than what we're doing now. And the mind gets in the way. It's the ego gets in the way. I equate this a lot because I always say to people, we've got to be clear, because we can intuit ignorance as well. We can intuit straight from other people that are saying things that are not relevant, not true. We see it happening all the time. Just this little hashtag fake news, man, that took off, and all of a sudden it became an energy permeating the country. So it's the difference between, I don't know if you've ever lived in the Midwest, but I grew up in the Midwest. It snows, it rains, there's mud. You drive a car and the car's getting dirty. Pretty soon you're like, oh, I can't see out of the windshield. And then you go wash the car. As soon as the car's washed, you get a little piece of mud and you're like, no, like wipe that off. You can see the speck because you're clear. So we have, as humans, we must get clear. We must be aligned. We've got to do the work that I know you're so passionate about, Marc, in your coaching, because when we're clear, we will intuit intelligence.
Are we born clear?
I believe for the most part we are. We do, from my perspective and what I've studied for lifetimes, is I believe we come, there's karma. We enter this existence with karma from past lives. So there will be certain things that come upon us due to karma. And karma is not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's a self-correcting system. However, when you're around children, they're so open. They're so like sponges. And some of you who are watching might have even remembered when you were a child, you had your little play friend that you kind of saw but didn't, or you heard, or your mom would ask for something before she opened your mouth. You were like open, super open. And then what happens for children that are very gifted, and everyone's gifted, but some of the gifts will be heightened. Parents get nervous. The child will say or do something at school and other kids make fun of them. Mm-hmm. We also go into many school systems and even parenting where parents don't mean to do wrong, but they're like, you have to sit this way. You've got to learn this way. You must talk, dress, eat. There's so many boxes that we're putting our kids in that all of a sudden children know there's a right and there's a wrong, and I'm afraid of wrong. So I'm going to do everything I can to just try and be right. So I get love, so I get appreciation, so I get recognition. But that's in the box. Yeah. And the more we're in the box, the less clear we become, because we're closing off those intuitive channels. We're closing off our full potential in a way.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I'm picking up right now is sort of this indoctrination process where, when we're younger, we're taught to unlearn things that we already know. It's almost like we're born with wings and they're clipped. We clip them or we hide them because we're afraid.
Right.
But what I really like what you said there, Kisma, was this idea of the new seed that's planted there is this idea of being afraid to be wrong, right? Yes. Because then all of a sudden there's the idea of fear that's right. installed. And I'm not talking about fear that's like literally like a dinosaur is chasing you and you go to fight.
Right.
But sort of this illusionary fear, right? And so that idea of being afraid of being wrong, oh my gosh! But when your intuition is in full blast, like you're only living in truth, right? So
only living in truth, only getting the highest information, and more specifically, I would say this is for children and even adults. I would love to hear from our listeners if they find this to be true, that the real fear is that either we're not loved or we're not accepted. And as a child, wanting to cooperate is to get that love because that's all they know. For us, it can be love, it can be recognition, it can be acceptance. And as we're older, we're able to understand that there's conditional love and acceptance throughout, from us to us, towards the universe, God, whatever. We can begin to drop the worries of what other people think, because that's just a drag. When we live worried what other people are going to think about what we're saying, what we're doing, when we know we're following our path and purpose, it becomes very heavy. So we have to really respect, bless, love the people and be like, okay, call me a little nutty, but here I go. I'm talking to my guides. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. And for those of you who've ever felt like you were living in that sort of heaviness, if anyone has ever felt that experience where you're like, you know what? Like, I have no more F's to hand out, and I'm just ready to just live, and like literally letting go of that heaviness, like that moment of freedom. I don't know if y'all have ever experienced it. I can name a few times when I experienced that, and it feels like you are lighter. Like it literally feels like that energy is going away.
Yes.
And so if anyone's on the live or on the replay has ever felt that, please let us know. But I have to let you know that the people are commenting on the way we look today, first and foremost. And Nessa is saying, Kisma, you look fabulous, love. And then my boy Andy is saying Cordon is old. So I'm gonna just push right through that one. Kisma, they're loving on you and they're hating on me today.
But you know what, come on, they love you.
Andy, I don't care about what you think of me. Cheer. Well, so let me ask you about your own life, Kisma. Was this something that you always like held on to in terms of this kind of knowledge, or was this something that you unlearned yourself and had to?
Oh, I do believe I unlearned. I remember as a child I was very quiet. I still am. I need a lot of space to be quiet and to think. And then I love people and I love being around people. But I just remember as a child always seeking like something different. You know, my mom would sort of be like, oh, here's your tarot cards, or here's that. Like, I didn't use them. I didn't know, but I just knew there was something else. And so at some point, I wasn't very athletic. A lot of the people in my school were. I was a little bit chubby. I was a little bit unhappy. So I started to play the flute. And this was the thing that allowed me, this was like a frequency of music that allowed me to feel alive. And I became very good very fast because I dove into that. And likely by focusing on music for the next how many decades, I kind of pushed I always had a wondering about the spiritual piece, but I was full on dedicated to my career. And it takes a lot to be a professional musician, to gig, to work, to get jobs in orchestras. And so it all kind of came full circle when I was in Hong Kong and a really dear friend said, hey, let's go to this yoga studio. The most yoga I did was like on videotapes with Rodney Yee. I mean, this is like revealing age, right? It's like I'd watch a videotape, and as soon as I got bored, I was like, I'm just going to go to reruns of Saturday Night Live. Like, I'm not going to stand on my head. This is crazy. Anyways, we went to a yoga studio, and here we are in Hong Kong, and there's so many really beautiful women, very flexible. And I was like a runner and a swimmer. When I sat cross legs, like my knees faced the ceiling. I remember my Indian teacher was like, what's wrong with your legs? I'm like, I don't know, but this is how I sit. And then there was a shift, and the yoga, the movement was like a way to be present, to breathe, to move my body. And from that point, I just dove into the philosophy. And it was like, then I couldn't get enough. And so by the time I moved back to Michigan, opened my studio, I ended up going to India to study with a teacher at the Vedanta Academy, Swami Parthasarathi. And that was it. I was like, this knowledge is so incredible. It's really about being able to master ourselves so we can master our life.
So let me ask you this then. When you were full on into your role in orchestra, were you saying to yourself still, I know, Kisma, there's still more to the world out there? Or were you fully engrossed in, I made it, like I found my passion in the flute? I see the head going.
If I had made it, that's such an interesting term. I would have been happy, and I wasn't fully happy. I was like, what? All this time, and I loved it. And I loved the musicians I played with. But I was like, yeah, no, there's something else. There's just at least for me, this was my path. There's another conversation I'm supposed to have.
Okay. And in going to yoga.
It started to open the doors. Yeah. Okay. I don't teach yoga anymore. I practice at home every day, but I realize it's like, yeah, there's really great physical teachers that want to teach people to lift their right leg up and step forward and do all that. And they're awesome. I usually just put on some great music and made sure everyone had fun. And then I wanted to go home and study. I wanted a different conversation, so our retreats are always really fun.
So move us from sort of that time in your life that, you know, you're doing, you know, you had a studio, but now you're straight up coach. You're working with
Yeah.
spirituality, you're working with energy, you're
Mhm.
working with optimal performance,
Yeah.
with a lot of people in the industry,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
how did we go there now?
Such a great question. And I think it happened on during week 2 of my yoga studio. Look, to be perfectly honest, I opened the studio because I wanted a place to retreat. I was hitting burnout. I had this huge vision of, oh, I get to do my yoga class and it's going to be cool. And I'm going to have these beaded curtains, which I never really got, which is a good thing. But anyways, I was completely selfish in this. And then somebody walked into the studio, a new student, and I asked the question, how are you? And she pulled me aside. She started to tell me a story of something that was going on. And I remember inside I went, oh shit, I didn't know this was going to happen. Meaning I didn't know that this place, and I got it right then. I was like, this is not about me. This was a space for people to come in and feel safe and to share and to be able to express. And it was such like a moment of humility because I knew that the selfish time had to be done and I needed to step in, do my work. And so the coaching really started as we would hold study groups. You know, that was my favorite. Let's do study group on Saturday. People would talk to me. It just became a natural occurrence.
Okay, so I'm hearing two things going on here. You went into this sort of self-care mode,
Yeah.
right? And you were nurturing the sort of new Kisma that would be
Mhm.
able to serve others on a higher level.
Yes. That's a nice way of putting I was very selfish and I wanted to hide. And I got us, this is when karma kind of slaps us in the face. It's like, no way, baby. Like, get it together, do your practice, serve your people. There's another round for you to go on the track, and you better be prepared.
So I want to go a little bit into deviation now because you've used the
Mhm.
word karma 3 times. And I'm curious as to, because we heard these things about karma slapping you in the face or the karmic wheel.
Yeah.
We're born coming with a certain amount of karma. What do you mean by that?
Karma is cause and effect, the very basic. Everything has a cause, everything has an effect. Where people get, and I'll even use it in fun, like the karmic slap, right? But karma is never good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. And the studies that I've done in India, really, I remember one of the first lectures I went to was Swami Parthasarathi, and he went, you are a victim of your past. And I went, oh, I knew it. This sucks. And I'm just sitting there at this lecture going, what am I going to do? And then he goes, but you are the architect of your future. And I was like, oh, thank God. All right, I better get this together. Meaning everything that has happened up until now is our essence, is our karma. We've created things. It doesn't always make sense. When something horrible happens, we'll go, why? I didn't create that. And analytically, no, you didn't. From your conscious mind, no, you didn't. We don't understand everything. Some things we do. You run a red light, there's a police officer, you get pulled over, you get a ticket. That's karma. It's instant karma. You get angry at someone, they yell back. That's instant karma. So there's so many different layers, right? It's just ongoing. But the beautiful piece is from this moment, we get to choose. And it's like you said at the beginning, Mark, like, how are you feeling every day? It doesn't mean you have to be thrilled and jumping and cheerleader. We get to pause and choose. What are my thoughts? What are my words? What are my actions? These all create our karma.
Mm-hmm.
So the choice to me is, do we want a B movie or do we want a masterpiece? It's up to us. Yeah, masterpiece, right? I hope everyone's typing a masterpiece, please. Masterpiece.
Well, I wanted to throw this out too, because you're bringing in major thinking here, right? And things that seemingly contradict each other, right? You're coming into the world a victim of, and you move towards being an architect of something else.
Yes.
So you're moving from a place where the victim of is almost a powerless type of mentality, right? I have
It
no
almost
power
is.
over certain things. And then the idea of moving into an architect is full on creationism,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And so in many ways there's sort of this, I don't know if it's balance or harmony, I don't know what it looks like, but there's this sort of melding of powerlessness and creationism, and then in
It's
the
so
middle is this
cool.
idea of choice.
Yes, it's so cool. And I do want to insert, I'm glad you brought this up. There are people that have been like, oh, it's just my karma. Let's not do that. We never want to allow karma to, use this as a term of like, well, life is happening to me. It's no good. It's my karma. This moment we're choosing. And there's another beautiful teaching that goes along with this. We actually get to elevate, say, our karmic bank balance by forgiveness and gratitude. These two things, forgiveness and gratitude, are huge to even kind of change some things in the past and to move it forward in the future. It's just one of those essences of being a human that when we choose these things, so many amazing things happen.
Okay, so let me see if I can put some concepts together from multi segments here, right? Sweating right now because my brain is hurting, but also at the same time it means my brain is growing, right? So we started off by talking about intuition and conversations with God.
Yeah.
I have no idea how God is related to karma, but everything is within some sort of universal
Law.
law, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if you're telling me that we come in with, we come in powerless to certain things, but have the choice to become architects of other things, we can
Yeah.
also up our karmic balance by
Yes.
forgiveness, gratitude, those sort of pieces. Does that also mean that we can have the choice to either say to, I don't know, karma, or just send the message, the prayer to God and say, okay, God, this is what I've been doing wholeheartedly. I'm grateful for being able to experience all the greatness of gratitude. I've upped my karmic load, my capacity, and I I think I'm gonna hit a button and cash out. Because like
Oh,
can you do that?
oh, now I'm sweating. I would not suggest cashing out on your karma.
Because in many ways, the only way I could think about it was like, okay, it's some sort of store or bank account that you're increasing. Is that the wrong
it's
way?
the universal law. No, there's no right or wrong. It's like understanding. Let me put it. Let me tell a little story. As well, the clearer we get, the faster karma comes to us, especially when ego inserts. So when I'm, say, studying at the academy in India, or when I'm working on something with clients where I'm really required to be very clear, if I do something out of ego, it is immediate return. And it's not to be labeled bad. It's like, I'll either feel it, I'll get somebody will say something, I'll just be like, oh yeah, man, I operated from ego and I got it right back. So it changes obviously with everyone, this pulse of karma, because it determines where we are in clarity, our own karma, our own world. For someone, they might just be fine running red lights all the time, and we don't know what's going to happen. Will they get caught? It's not our business for other people. Our business is our own life and what it is we want to create. And it can come down to, what are we focusing on? If we are just the simple cause and effect from the mind action, if we are always seeing what we do not have enough of, we're putting energy on that. And by the law of karma and the law of cause and effect, not having enough will grow. That's just like such a basic way to look at how we create karma with our mind and our thoughts. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Did you stop sweating?
No, I haven't stopped sweating this whole time, and I also realized I'm wearing a sweatshirt, so maybe that's part of it as well. But I think just to get back to certain questions about choice, then, if we have full choice, why is it that God would want to talk to us?
Why wouldn't God want to talk to us?
I don't know. I wanted to throw it out there because I think so many people live feeling despair, isolation, loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think you can be in solitude and still be in a conversation with God. And so I just wanted to throw it out there, like, if we have full choice, why would God want to?
Absolutely. Well, the question is, who is God, right? What is God? My light just went out. So that's a whole nother conversation. If we contemplated for a moment that God is in each and every one of us, in every being, every creature, it's this essence, the supreme essence, and it flows through us, then we're always in communion with God. Sometimes we don't know it and we turn it off and we choose to be in a way of, I think, honestly, people forget to ask for help. They don't realize they can actually invoke for some guidance. So they'll end up, and I get it. It's, once you feel funky, it's easy to keep feeling funky. It's easy to keep going down that quicksand of, oh man, this sucks. I'm having a bit. Some people just love doing that because they get a little reward from it. And that's the work, is to always look at, well, what am I getting from having this conversation that, I'm not good enough or things aren't working out? What do we get? Sometimes we get to stay stuck. We get to stay comfortable, and we'll miss out the conversations to God. So, you know what I mean? Now, the free choice thing is, we always get to choose. We can choose to not ask. We can choose to clog ourselves up so much that we won't hear. We can choose to not listen to our intuition, so it'll go to a whisper and it might even fade away. The channel is never taken from us. We always have it. But if we choose to not listen or use it, or to take just a bunch of action that we know is not in divine order, it's going to get congested. And I want to insert too, because some people are all different. I'm pretty like woo. I'm also pretty grounded, honestly. I really am. But I'll work with someone who comes in and it's like a doctor, very linear minded, etc. And I'm like, oh, when I talk to him about intuition, or her about intuition, with that sort of linear mindset, they feel it in their body. And I was like, that makes sense for you, because you're going to need a more tangible kind of spoken word. It needs to be tangible in the body for them to listen. Because in their cognitive and their analytical mind, it's like, it doesn't make sense that there's going to be this voice talking to me. So they get it in their body, and that's right for them.
I love it. I'm actually stopping right now because there's this. You know what? I'm going to claim it. This was a conversation that I had with God that I haven't shared, but I think that I just want to share it with you, Kisma, right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
When I was in grad school, I was in a PhD program. I was writing all these papers. I was moving towards like wanting to write about happiness. There was nothing at the time around it, and I was like, what am I doing? And I just remember every single day I would lock myself in the room. At the time I had a partner, we were getting more distant, and I was just like, like I'm sacrificing everything to get a PhD. And I remember it was my birthday and I was writing a paper by myself. And I don't know why, but I just go, I screamed it. I said, God, if you are fucking out there, like, I know you don't do this, and I know you're just going to leave me to my paper, but like, if you are out there, I need a sign right now, because I don't understand what I'm doing anymore. And it may be woo, because I'm a very science person. It may be woo to other people, but I felt literally a bolt of lightning go through my body.
Yes.
I'm thinking that was a nice little intuition, or somebody was touching me with a different level of energy, and I have never looked back. I knew
you asked and you received. And for the soul that you are, I mean, everyone watching, we know Marc is this beautiful soul. Like, you're here to shake things up in a big way. You're not here playing small, honey. You're playing big. And so that moment of just like, I need a sign. And so that some people, they might have gotten a little something walking across their desk, or a butterfly. You got the bolt of lightning. Like,
so I'm not the only one. People feel bolts of lightning.
I haven't heard that before, but I totally believe it and I love it. And I just, it's like, and also like, for who you are, it needed to be that strong. It needed to be that intense.
Yeah, I felt like my God was laughing at me after that. I felt like, when it shows the lightning and then you're like smoking afterwards, it's just two eyes blinking. So yeah, Elizabeth, thank you so much. That's very cool. Andrew is watching. It's all love. It is all love, Andrew.
Yeah.
And so I forgive you for saying that I'm old, and my karmic balance goes up. Kisma's like, you jerk. Kisma, I want to get to, and thank you for creating the space for me to share that. I don't think I've ever shared that before.
I love that story. And I mean, really though, it's such a precious moment, because it was the moment of choice. You could have been like choosing to say, I continue to be stuck and lost. And then you asked for help. And I just really believe we've got to ask for help more and more. It's all around us. The guys, the teachers, the angels, they're around. So let's not have them be bored. Let's ask for help.
Yeah. And I'm not going to code this message. There are plenty of helpers out there. Yeah. Oh, Kisma's like, what? What does Cordon know about that? We'll talk more, Kisma, but there are plenty of helpers out there that you know about better than I do, right?
Yeah.
So I think that idea of asking, though, is the thing is, there's so many things around us that are built to support and help, but they seem to become invisible to us when we don't listen. They seem to become invisible when we don't have clarity and we don't know that we're living in crap town, and we could be living life at a higher level, and not feel like we're settling for something every single day. So we moved. Let's talk about now the energy work, the sort of the client work, because I've also felt a shift, and some people can say it's because of sort of the planetary alignment and the idea that we're going into a golden age in the next couple of years, and the reptilians are not going to have a charge on us and all this good stuff. You're like, what? People living in the middle of the earth, people. But like, there's all these different theories out there. But one of the things that many people are saying is sort of whether you're an indigo baby and all these, whatever they want to call them, is that we're reaching this new enlightenment age where people are conscious of what success means. They are conscious of the fact that they want to live a life where, what does it mean to have lived that fully and contributed to society? Ubuntu's coming back, right? Full circle. So what is your contribution to all of that's going on? Because industry folks can often get caught in industry stuff.
Yeah. I just love this. And it is the age of expanded consciousness is coming back. And I also feel like we're a bit behind. And so, I mean, we're ahead of the game in so many ways when we look at science and technology, and it's incredible. However, when we look at how some of the conversations that we're still having where people are discriminated against or can't live in free, like sometimes I go, because I look at souls, I don't look at race or color. I'm like, we're still having this. So the way I look at it is that every person who is willing to elevate themselves raises the frequency of the planet just a bit more. And so as I work with people through, sometimes it's basic coaching, sometimes it's, well, there's always energy work, because I feel like mindset is one thing, but if we don't clean and cleanse the energy, it's not sustainable in terms of the mindset. And then it's accessing the intuition. So for every person that is able to just step in a bigger way, lead with more love, be present, it has that ripple effect. Absolutely 100%. So my part is so small, yet if I were to drop my part, it would be one missing part. And so for everyone out there that's doing their part, it is a piece of the puzzle. We have to do what we're here to do. And at times it can feel like we'd rather just crawl into bed and watch reruns of, I don't know, Homeland or OA or all the show, like, and I do that too. And there's a time for that.
Like you've got your
I even know the dance to OA. So I'm kind of nuts, but I'm learning it. I don't know the whole thing. But the point is, like, we have a time where we're to be present and aware and doing what we're here to do. And I think for spirituality, that's the big missing piece oftentimes, especially down here. I'm in, Carlsbad, near Encinitas, San Diego. There's a lot of blissed out people, which is cool. Really, when we're in our spiritual realm, we've got to be in action. I don't know any high level being who is not in action in the world of service. It is easy to sit on the beach and meditate and feel good. It is not easy, like you said at the beginning of the show, to be in the world where it's ups and downs. It's a roller coaster. It will always be a roller coaster. It's our ability to ride that coaster that allows us to be in the self-mastery and to make it better for other people.
I felt like that was the message that was sent to me. I spent years and years studying psychology, and the lightning bolt was, get your ass off of the mountain and go do work. Like, do real work. Stop writing papers, dude. Now, I wanted to throw that out there, sort of this idea that we have to do what we're called to. That comes back to what you talked about at the very beginning, Kisma, the idea of clarity. The idea of clarity, and not only clarity from God sometimes being like, dude, wake up, homie, like wake up now, but also from the standpoint of us being able to clear and cleanse, and then taking action on that.
Right.
I am wondering how much these 5 themes that I talked about at the very beginning, clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go, have to do with us getting clarity and moving.
So much. It's these 5 topics you got when I mentioned the meditation pod that I have, which is basically 5 meditations that are designed with purpose. And, we could talk for another hour on meditation. We won't right now, but it's an amazing practice and often very misused and misunderstood. Meditation isn't a practice, it's an arrival. Most minds are too agitated to meditate. Just think about it. Like, guys, I don't know about you, but I have a practice of meditation that is probably 15 minutes in the morning. And then if I have a day with a lot of clients, I'll tap in again to cleanse. So I'm reset. But for someone to truly stop their thoughts and to have the lower vibe cleansed out, it's a big feat. And I see this when people, like, there's apps like Headspace and all that. Those are awesome. Those are just going to give, the prefrontal lobe a little rest, a reset, those are amazing. But when we're talking about meditation where you're accessing higher energy, we do want to have a way to do it where we're clear and clean. Otherwise, it's like we're fertilizing the weeds in the garden instead of the roses. Because if we go into meditation, we're angry, guess what's going to get exacerbated? The anger. If we go into meditation and we're agitated or congested in our mind, that can grow. If we go into meditation with worry, lack, limiting, poverty consciousness, and we try to meditate on the problem grows. So these meditations are designed to solve and resolve and then fertilize what we actually want.
Oh my gosh. And why clarity, calm, healing, abundance, and letting go?
I just love them. I just like, okay, what do I want to create for people?
I just wanted to say that the Californian in you came out. You're like, I just love them.
I know. It's way different from the East Coast side, but think about, what does clarity provide for us value? If we're not clear, we're anxious. We're opening up a bunch of different energetic loops. And calm is like not having an agitated mind. When the mind is agitated, it's really tricky to make decisions. It's tricky to be present. It's when anxiety and our entire neurological system, like, will start to get inflamed. Mm-hmm. And so that agitation is not going to help us excel as a human being. So we want the calmness. We want to be centered so that we can actually think and ponder and create the words and the thoughts that are going to create what we want to bring in. Healing, I'm a believer that healing is a daily practice of something that maybe occurred at yesterday or something that occurred as a child or a past life. And so being able to run an energy that is healing just puts us in the best place possible. Some people have more physical things to heal. Some people have emotional, mental. It's all different, but it's a specific energy. And then abundance. I mean, abundance isn't just money, but abundance it's like another great author, Catherine Ponder, who I just love. She's such a great teacher. And she said, it's shockingly right to be prosperous. We are put on the planet to actually be prosperous, to be abundant. There's limitless supply. Why would we not want to make the movements and the energy to have access to that? And then the letting go is like, man, there's stuff, let go. Like, why do we want to hold on to something that isn't ours? Let go, let go, let go. That's a big part of the healing as well. It's a big part of forgiveness, letting go.
In many ways, they're not really mutually exclusive. These are pieces that are very much
totally.
they're
Absolutely.
very
and
fluid.
It's kind of like when you get one, you might actually get them all. Like when you really nail one, when you really embody one, it's sort of that, all these others just kind of show up.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, you can look right now, y'all, in the show notes. I've got Kisma's links to go right now and get the 5. Get the big five.
The Fab 5.
The Fab 5, as we in the industry like to call them. Kisma's, we're all at industry parties, like I always go to, and I'm like, did you happen to do Kisma's big 5 today? So what I challenge y'all to do is, I challenge y'all to, in many ways, I'm going to just take the golden mic for a second. I'm going to speak into it. In many ways, stop listening to what the status quo is telling us, to fake it until you make it. And also, like, everything looks like we're all ducks on the pond, but underneath the surface, in the underbelly of things, everything is frenetic. Everything is wild. Everything is crazy. Let's flip that.
Yeah.
Let's flip that. And why don't we try this out? 5 meditations.
Yeah.
Where the inside is the calm, the inside is the clarity, the inside is the peace and the harmony, and the outside as well. We don't want that, but the world is chaotic. That's why we're always healing, because we always experience things.
And the internal reflects the external. What we create internally, we will create externally.
Now, I just had lunch, but I also wanted to throw this out there. We also got mantra snacks.
I love mantra snacks.
Grab my mantra snack.
Mantra snacks is great. Mantra snacks is my free training. It's 9 audios, and I just started to jam on what I believe really sets people up for an amazing day, positivity, focus, just mastering themselves again. So yeah, mantra snacks. Oh my God. I love mantra snacks.
I absolutely love the word mantra snacks. Mantra snacks and karma slaps. What else do you need? Is mantra snacks and karma slaps, and then Kisma today. Kisma, I can't thank you enough. For those of you watching live, if you felt it like I felt it, there were times when I forgot and that we were on a live show, and I was just talking to Kisma about my grad life for a second. If y'all felt good about this, if you felt like you got something out of this, share it out. Share it out. Because this is in many ways counterintuitive to what a lot of people are sharing out. So if you felt it, if it feels like it's in your purpose and meaning, share it out. Share it to someone that you care about. All right? Now, this is the thing, Kisma, I wanted to thank you for being on the show. We need to talk again.
Yes,
and
we will.
By the way, this is what my voice sounds like, because the first time we met, I was completely sick.
Right.
I was a frog. Right. But I can't think of a better day and a better place and a better time for us to just get to know each other. And I can't stay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to say to your listeners, like, this guy is for real. He's for real. Honestly, there's so much noise out there. And that's part of the issue is we do go into this age of expanded consciousness. We need to be so careful what we put in. So keep listening, keep following this guy, share him. Like, Marc, you're such an amazing soul. I couldn't be more grateful to be with you today. Thank you.
Hey, it takes one to know one, homie.
Aw, thanks.
So Kisma, this is why the show's called The Golden Mic. You've had a lot of experience. You've had a lot of wisdom, a lot of conversations with God, right? And at this point, we get to do a nice quick visualization together. So I want you to envision that a golden mic is coming down from your ceiling right now, even more glorious than the Yeti that sits akimbo to your mouth right now. A glorious golden mic is coming down from the ceiling. And for 2 minutes, this golden mic translates into every language all across the world, which means everyone will be listening. Kisma, your golden mic is live now.
One of the most important things that we can do as humans is to constantly and consistently see, whether we call it the full potential or the love in each other. It's no wonder that we are interconnected on all levels, and things become more glorious when we can look at another person, even if we don't like them, even if they've hurt us, and somehow see their full potential, their higher self, their love in them. And this will create this interconnectedness. And this is like, again, it's like that karma piece. It comes back to us. So what we see, what we're willing to see in others, we're able to bring back to us from others. And the more we do that, it's like, even, when you go to the grocery store and you look at someone and you want to be agitated and you think, what's it like to stand on your feet for 12 hours? Is that person, does she have a child at home she's trying to feed? And there's a moment of compassion, there's a moment of love, and then there's a moment of recognition that you're in that person is in you. It levels the playing field, and it wipes out any fear of not good enough, not enough, superiority, inferiority. It's like we just become one, and the more that we're one, it's like the more we elevate the planet. And the planet's calling to us right now. Like, Mother Earth is screaming. And we can see it in so many scientific ways, as you know, but she is screaming to us for help. And whatever that pulse is each and every day that we can do to elevate, because our love, this is why we're here, to evolve, it actually helps to solve what's going on in her. I hope that helps.
And with that said, Smash that golden mic down because we're going to pass it to somebody else. Kisma, it's more than all right. You know that. You know that it was more than all right. This has been episode 69, the golden mic. Marc, Kisma, we've been just shooting it. I just got one final question for you.
Sure.
And the question is this, y'all. If you're feeling happy, you're living life in your full purpose today, what is your responsibility to change history for the better? We'll see you tomorrow. Another golden mic. You can trust I'll be back. Thank you, Kisma, and we'll see you soon. Take care,
Namaste.
y'all. Namaste.